On this episode of Bootstrap Business Wisdom, I talked to Sonia Leasing. Sonia talks to me about her journey through entrepreneurship that started with her being homeless. She had a son just after her 18th birthday and has built businesses from nothing. She knows how to survive just on fresh air. She knows how to get you into the mindset of being able to actually move the dial of your business. So when you're sitting there thinking to yourself, I'm not sure I've got the money to do this, this is the podcast that you need to listen to. All right, Chris, thanks for coming in. Before we go into it too much, I'd just like people to give a bit of a background on their background to the listeners. So where did you start? How did you become an entrepreneur? What's your business like at the moment? And anything else you think is relevant?
Okay, so my journey, I was in the army. So when I was 16, I was pretty lost. I didn't know what to do. And ironically, my friend said he wanted to join the army. And I was like, what do you want to do that for? Why the hell would you want to join the army? Anyway, I didn't want to be left behind. So when they went into the army office, I'd follow them.
Oh, Jesus.
And when I was in there, the sergeant pinpointed me. He was looking at me. He's like, would you like to join the army? And I said, what, me? Me join your army? Like, I was like, and he was like giving me appraisal that I could do. I never thought I would be able to be good enough to join the army. Anyway, he sold me. I went in the army. None of my other friends did. So,
wow, you got proper mugged off there.
But it was by far the best thing that happened. It just instilled something in me. I'd done the British Army. It was a bit of a scattered duration, should we say. And then I left and went over to America. I joined the American Army, and it was a bit of a duration. But both of them taught me a lot. I was very institutionalized, definitely. I was always ambitious, but never really from an entrepreneurial perspective. I always felt, I was in the mode of kind of the rat race, going through the ladder and up that way. So when I left the army in America, I felt I was going to do something along that trend. But then I wanted to have a bit of fun, so I went over to Ayia Napa for a bit of for 3 months just to unwind and then go back into the real world. And when I was in Ayia Napa, when I was a lot younger, you had two options. You could either work in a bar and you get like £25 a night, all night, or you could sell tickets. And if you sold tickets, you're commission based only. And if you don't sell, you don't eat. So when I started doing that, I was selling nothing. I got right down to, I had no money. So I rang my mum. She gave me £50. I thought I'll give £50 a go. And ironically, we figured out a way to be able to sell a lot of tickets. And then we ended up selling more. Well, I felt like I was the best ticket seller on the island. I know it's a bit arrogant, but it was. But it was my first taste of having my destiny in my own hands. So what I'd done was the outcome of what I wanted.
Yeah.
So we're selling over 100 tickets a week. We was getting €10 commission per ticket. So we was making over £1,000, which obviously drop in the ocean for a lot of people. But for myself, that was loads of money. So like I was living like a king. And we'd done that for 3 months, every day, non-stop. So when I come back, it just sparked something. And it's like, it kind of helped me understand you don't have to be in a rat race.
Yeah, you can just make money.
Your destiny's in your own hands. So from that time, I was doing loads of little different things, starting little small businesses that didn't work, learned a lot. My passion is health and fitness due to the army. So I became a personal trainer. I went to Cardiff, and it was one of my first tastes of being a self-employed personal trainer in Pure Gym, and it kind of cascaded from there. So when I started as a personal trainer, I thought I wanted to train people who were like me at the time, fit and become fitter, but I gravitated towards the people who were once like me. So before the army, no fitness, nothing at all, but the army got me to a level of fitness I could never imagine. So I veered to a lot of people who went to the gym because they felt like they needed to, not because they wanted to.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed, they all tell me they wanted to lose weight, but I didn't really care about that. I knew if I could instill something into them, it would be like an ongoing life thing, and getting them to achieve things that they never thought they could. For some people, it's just running 1 mile. Being able to run 1 mile is unknown to people, but getting people to do that knocks down a barrier. So then I started doing, the majority of these people wanted to lose weight, and then I figured out people would go through a weight loss journey all their lives. And I was like, why are they going through a weight loss journey all their life? Always starting something, stop. So then I started thinking, right, I want to try and create a weight loss program that becomes someone's one weight loss program. And since 2014, I've been developing, testing, trialing, redeveloping a program. And ironically, it's quite simulated how the army done with us. So in the army, when you first start, you start as a civilian with a basic training. 6 months later, you become a soldier. Everyone who starts and finishes becomes a soldier, no matter what. So with the weight loss program, it's kind of simulations the same. And the way it works is you put everyone in the same boat who's going in the same direction on the same program, creates battle buddies. Of course, I'd like to say I'd have a 100% success rate. That doesn't happen, but we have a very high success rate, and because of that. So, but it's never been plain sailing, because when I was trying to create the business model for personal training and that kind of thing, I had none of the wiser. So I used to reach out to people, mentors and stuff like that. I feel I've learnt a lot of every mentor that I've brought, but some are better than others, and some probably didn't lead me down a path that you should. And within the personal training world, you've got this the box gyms or the pure gyms and stuff like that. We've got a lot of money who can create a low membership and wait till they get the volume, because they've got the capital to be able to hold the breaths. So the majority of personal trainers, they will do high tickets, so a high price of personal training, which only lasts so long, and it's always like pushing custard uphill. So over that time, I created multiple different business models for personal training, and some of them win, some of them failed. COVID gave me a big hit, and then on September 2022, I always had the idea I wanted to try the Slimming World model, but with my methods, my practices. And I thought I'd give it one little go, one last little go. And it was like my one last little shot into the personal training world. I was just going to do something else. And I just hit the ground running. So I've kind of held my breath a lot, because I've gone low ticket. Well, it's we charge at the moment only £40 a month.
Yeah.
But obviously the revenue's low for a business to be able to start. So we've been scraping the barrel throughout. However, we are tapping into an audience of people who don't have a gym to go to. So the people who come to us are ones who don't particularly want to go to a gym, who are too self-conscious to go to a gym, and it's their place. So it's a huge market, and it's just been blown up.
Wow, that's amazing. So I've got a few questions, actually. The first one is, on your learnings, there must have been some things that you thought, oh, wow, if I could just do this and I could just get like 1,000 people, I'd be laughing.
Yeah.
And then at some point you realise, like, that's just impossible. You're not going to get 1,000 people. So what was it that happened where you started to realise that, and have you changed your thinking since then?
Okay, so I get this, because for me, I probably need 1,000 people for the volume that I need, but to try and get it overnight, it doesn't happen. Yeah. So when my process is getting people in, we've got loads of process, but one of the main processes, we use Facebook ads, which works very well. We phone call them, and it's only a £40 sign up, so it's not a lot of money at all. So you think you need to do a good 5 to 10 a day to be able to make it worthwhile. So at first, when I was starting it, I was like, right, I need to get 5 or 10 sales a day, 5 or 10 sales a day, but it was killing me mentally, because it just wasn't happening. And then sometimes I could ring 10 people, make 10 sales. Sometimes I could ring 100 people and make no sales. Yeah. So then and on top of it, you got all the other business stuff to do, business development and stuff like that. So I had to completely change my thinking. All I cared about was one sale. One sale a day, that's all it is. Yeah. But normally I get more than that. But as long as I get one sale a day, it helps hit the endorphins that I needed to feel like I'm winning. Yeah. And I normally get more than one sale a day. But by doing that, it allows me, and weirdly, it's actually enough to grow it, because you don't just get the one sale, particularly my business. I get one sale, they tell their friends, tell their friends, and I get more. And then I can spend the other time working. So it's kind of like time blocking just for that 1% improvement over a long period of time, and it builds. Yeah, I love that, because in the beginning it's like you don't account for having to do anything else, do you? You're just like, I'm just going to go and get these 1,000 clients, and that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. And then like everything else just seems to get in the way of that, doesn't it? Like, your computer's not working, like, your Outlook's not opening, like, you've got to do a VAT return, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, like all of these things. And like you say, like, and then you do find time to make a few phone calls, don't make any sales, and it's just like, this isn't what I was supposed to be doing at all. Yeah. I thought I'd be rich by now. Yeah. Absolutely. And what about the other side of it then? Because it must be very important for you that these customers don't just churn out the other end. Yeah.
And is that something that you have had to learn the hard way, or you know, what's been your learnings around that?
Right. So weirdly, when we first started, we obviously had a big churn rate, and it's dropping down, and one of the reasons why it changed is you taught me something a little while ago. I'm not sure if you remember. We was at a seminar, one of Dent seminars, and we spent about 5 or 10 minutes, and you talked about gamification. I understood gamification, but you just explained it in a way, and it just hit a light bulb. And you explained it in a way, it's like everything you do is gamification. You know, people don't even realize, but they gamify it. So this is what you said. You said, when you're standing at a train station, people don't just stand anywhere. They try and stand where the door stops, and they gamify just to get onto a train. And because of that, and I think the luckiness we went on the same business program with the value of stuff, creating a customer journey, is creating as much as we can to keep them in play with the gamification to stop that churn rate.
Yeah, and that's working.
Massively. So, for example, we when they sign up, we make sure for the first 3 days they get enough information that's going to help them.
Yeah,
we've got something in place for 7 days that they'll get quick results. Then they're like, oh wow, this is working. Even if so we have something called like a 7-day detox amongst other things, but this is one thing. They'll lose between 4 to 12 pounds within that 7 days. Granted, it is water weight. Very honest with them, you know, not all of it, a little bit is fat, but what it does, it creates that placebo effect. It's like, oh, you know, this is working. He knows what he's talking about. What else has he got? And then the next step is the 28 days. So we can get past 28 days, they normally stay.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
Don't before 28 days. Obviously, we have a lot of people who still don't, but the majority who do.
But the ones that don't, I imagine, are not following it at all. They've signed up and are doing something else.
So yeah, weight loss is it's like weirdly. The majority of people has made a decision before they even come to me.
Yeah.
So anyone who's on a weight loss journey who gets great results, they're already dedicated before they come. I just put them on a path.
Yeah.
There's a small percentage where I can help, like mess with their mind a little bit to help them, and the majority of them, the unfortunate is I figured out is the reason why people don't change is because the lack of belief. I'll give you an example. So in the different terms, let's say if I said to you, I want you to make £1 million, but you're only going to get paid £10 an hour. How confident would you be that you're going to make £1 million?
Yeah, not that confident.
Right. So how easy would it be to try and save and stuff like that? You think, like, what's the point? What's the point of saving? Because I'm not going to make it anyway. So a lot of people in a weight loss journey, they don't feel like they're going to ever make it to the end. So when you tell them, you know, they should cut down on this stuff and this stuff, subliminally in the back of the mind, so what's the point?
Yeah.
I'm never going to make it anyway. So for me, it's like lifting the chamber doors. So it's like, belief, all about the 1% improvement. So hopefully
this is a good point, actually. You know, it's not that different to a business in a way, because one of the first businesses that I had some business partners, and we all went our own separate ways in the end. And all of those went back to employment. And when I talk to them now, they say things like, "Oh yeah, but you know, you was always different. You was destined to like run a successful business." And it's funny only because I can see both sides of it now. I can see how close they were to having a successful business, but just the belief, like you say, just the belief that you're going to be able to like.
What's the point?
Do that? Yeah. What's the point? Absolutely.
What's the point wasting my life if it's not going to happen?
It's such a good point. I think with everything in life, not just weight loss. So going back to the army side of things, then.
Yeah.
How does it work in the army in the sense that I join as a civilian, I become a soldier, and everyone who joins as a civilian becomes a soldier unless they, of course, they quit, I guess.
Correct.
And you went through that process in your mind, like you say, like, you know, maybe it institutionalized you in other ways, but it also allowed you to see that like everything's just a process.
Yeah. Sausage factory.
Everything's just a sausage factory, right?
Yeah.
Follow the process and it'll work. And business is probably the same as that. Like, as much as everybody feels like they've got a unique business, we're all going to go through the startup phase. We're all going to go through the phase after that. And, you know, ultimately, wherever you get to in your business, someone's already walked that path pretty much. With your company, would you say that you're still in the process of trying to find what it is that you want to offer to people, or would you say that you're in the phase of trying to find the right marketing to attract them, or scaling the business in order to be able to manage it? Like, what's one of the main issues that you kind of face at the moment?
The process we've got, I think that's very solidified.
Process of attracting leads and getting them to sign up and keeping them
and taking them through a journey that's going to be successful for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's covered, and it's proven through the results of our members over the years. Our main thing is we're tapping into a market which needs educating. So when weight loss, they feel like they need to go to a gym, they just think of gym. So when they think of something like Pure Gym, even though it's a great place to go to, a lot of people are not confident enough to go to Pure Gym for multiple reasons. Not fit enough, not skinny enough, or whatever they feel like. With ours is a place for those people. So there's so many people out there who don't really understand that. When people sign up to us, they see we call the Weights Over Academy. So it says the name on the tin. So they kind of got inkling of it, but until they walk through their door, they don't realise it's actually a place of all sizes and comfortability. So at the moment, there's two things. More awareness, getting people to understand exactly who we are and who we're for, educating the market. And the next thing is we've nickel and dimed our gym. So we didn't have funding and everything. So my gym's got no showers. It's got a communal toilets for everyone else in the unit. I've got most of my kit from Facebook marketing. Yeah. So my kettlebells are all mixed kettlebells and stuff like that. Luckily, I've got the army trait into me. I'm like, this is what it's like in the army.
Yeah.
But so this next, so I'll rewind a little bit. So I proven the process by doing one session a week. This was in September 2022. In a classroom. I can only hold 16 people in there. So once a week they come into us and we talk about weight loss and I take it through a process. And that worked really well. We fill up very quickly. So I got another room and then we ended up getting 32 members. So 2 sessions a week. And then in February, there was a chance to get this big unit, 2,500 square feet. And I didn't really have the capital to do it. So I pre-sold a lot of it just so I can get the money. And I used the money that I pre-sold that they could have refunded to get this unit. And so it cost me like 13,100 to go from the 2 rooms to the 2,500 square foot, and I only had 32 members. 32 members at that time, it was only £25, so I only boosted it up to like £30 to £40.
Yeah.
So do the calculation, that doesn't last very long.
Yeah.
So I had to explode at enough to be able to keep it going, and we're still going. So the next thing is, I feel I'm at a stage where I've proven the first one, I've proven the second one with bog standard equipment. No showers and nothing like that. We're not an open gym. We're only class-based. I reckon if we can layer that, it would go to the next level. I feel the best way to explain it is, if Slim World and Pure Gym had a baby, it's us. Slim World, I don't want to knock them. They clearly have helped a lot of people, but it was created years ago. So they're at that time, that stuff was the stuff that works.
Yeah. And
they've got like 9,000 ambassadors. So to try to change the practice, you'd have to change a spider web. But all these people, so we've got the modern practices of what works with weight loss theory and mindset, and we got the comfortability of a gym for people who are too uncomfortable to go elsewhere. Yeah. So I know I'm probably the same, ambitious, optimistic. I feel like if it's done correctly, it could be one of the most respected weight loss company in the nations.
Yeah, so. I think you're probably right. I've got a friend who is very much into stretch goals and all of that sort of stuff and mindset and stuff. And, a common thing that he often says, which I don't know if you agree with, is like motivation, it's like overrated. Yeah. It'll get you up off the sofa once, maybe. Yeah. Like what you really need is discipline. Yeah. And it sounds like you're kind of saying the same thing there. It's like, I can be motivated to go to the gym to lose weight, but then if I don't actually believe that I'm going to end up like this, that motivation is going to drift away and I'm going to go back to eating crisps on the sofa.
And no discipline.
Like the discipline is, I'm going to just do this until I get to the end result. The people that you see in your gym that do that, what would you say is the main difference between the ones that, I don't know,
succeed and don't?
Yeah, I know you could just say discipline, but how?
It's multiple factors. I think, like I said before, majority of people who come are ready. They're to the point where they're done. So they they just need to be told. And if they come to me, I know I'm going to sound a bit arrogant here, I know I'm going to put them on the right path. And like we teach them the hard way rather than the easy way, which is the better option. The ones who don't have it is breaking everything down. So we do multiple things, but this is one factor. So when we sit them down, we create a belief in their mind, get them to think like outside the box, get them to wave a magic wand, like what would you absolutely love to have, you know, if you could have anything in the world, what would it be within your health fitness? And they'll create it, and it's like, right, think about it. I know it sounds airy and fairy, but it works. And so we're like, right, that is your goal. So just say hypothetically, I'll put it into fitness terms. Let's say someone wants to run a marathon. They can't walk around the street, you know, so that's completely delusional. So far out of reach, they don't think they're going to be able to touch it. If they're looking in the tunnel, they can't see the end of the tunnel. But that's the end goal. Then the first goal is running half a mile. As all we care about is running your half a mile. And we have like a little dream board. It's like, right, you want to write down half a mile. Once you've done that, write a mile down. And there's all different factors. It could be like doing one push-up. It could be losing half a dress size, one dress size. So it is helping create the discipline by breaking the goals down in bite-sized, believable wins. And also along the way, every time they hit it, they're hitting the endorphins, like, oh, it's working, it's working, it's working.
That's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right?
Yeah.
So what's going to happen then? Because it sounds like you could motivate me to do this. I could join your gym, I'm going to work with you, and it's all going to be fine. What's going to happen when it's not you doing it? How are you going to scale it on from there, or have we already reached that stage?
No, I think, again, some of the programs, one of the ones we went on, I think helped us, you know, with systems and processes. So I've just been creating loads of processes. When people sign up to me, we've got close to 200 members at the moment.
Wow.
Which is small in the grand scheme of things, and it doesn't take much of my time at all. So when they sign up, they just go through a complete process, and it's like, do this, do this, do this, do this. And they can reach out to us anytime they want, but very rarely do they do. It also, we kind of create kind of a bit of a flywheel, because a lot of the people who are in the program, who've gone through the program, they're in the groups and Facebook groups, so they ask a question, and all the people in the group help them. So I don't really need to do anything, because everyone before them already knows. Yeah,
they've got their own accountability.
So systems.
What do you think you learned in the army that's helped you in this business?
So much. Like, well, I think one of the main things is when I was in the American army, this is one I can off the top of my head. One of our drill sergeants was a special forces, and he had a motto: everything's last. No, eating and sleeping's last. Everything else is first. So clean your weapons, do your admin and everything else. You're not eating, you're not sleeping until it's all done. And sometimes you'll be up all night long. And I think because of that, obviously sleep's important and stuff like that. But if you want something in life, there has to be sacrifices. And if you don't sacrifice, the want becomes the sacrifice. And that might mean sacrifice your sleep, sacrifice partying, sacrifice and all. And you hear this all the time, but it's so true. You have a choice of what you want to do. If you want to get to there, you can. But it's up to you whether you create a sacrifice or not. And think eating and sleeping's last. What's always stuck in my mind.
Yeah, such a good point. I see so many people that haven't got, you know, there's just not enough time in the day for them to do everything. And then the next post I see on social, they're asking, like, who can recommend a box set? It's like, which one is it?
Yeah, always time.
Not got time to do it, but I'm in the middle of watching a box set.
Yeah.
People need a release, of course, but like you say, like priorities.
Yeah,
which is it?
What's more important?
On the last podcast I was doing, I was just talking about story that I was telling this guy, but one thing he could do to really make a massive difference in his business, it wasn't going to cost him anything. It was going to take him about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And about a week later, I spoke to him and like, just not done it. You know, so
it disheartens you, doesn't it? Because you can see it. It's like,
you just think to yourself, like, do you really want to do this?
Yeah.
Or like, so how do you deal with that then? Like, you must have customers. Someone who's listening to this has got customers that are blaming them at the moment for not delivering what they said they were going to deliver. And you know, you're in an industry whereby that's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
People are going to go, well, you've happily taken my money, Chris, and I'm still the same size that I was when I started.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that, other than just saying like, well, it's your problem?
Well, I think before anyone comes in, I always tell them it's going to be the hardest journey you go on. So I never put them all under the rise. Their expectations are set. And I always tell them, I'm going to tell you what you want to hear or what you want to hear. And that's the same throughout the process. So when people say to me they're not changed, I can be like, you're not doing it. And it's as simple as that. And I'll help them. Of course, I'll help them. A lot of people I can help. A lot of people listen. There's lots of things that we can do. But unfortunately, there's some, no matter what you do, what you say, it's a saddened to see, but they just don't do it.
They're just not ready.
And there's sometimes not ready, or they just won't do it. They're not. It's not even been disciplined enough. They just won't do it. So it's hard. It's just casualties, part of the process.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds bad, and I'm not trying to be like a unmoral business person. It's just the reality. It's like, we've got everything to help you. We've got all the support to help you. We can reach out to you as much as you can.
We know it will work.
We know it will work. As long as you help, if you're suffering, speak to us.
Yeah.
We can put you in the right direction. If you're suffering and you're not telling us, we can't help you.
I think the key there with what you're doing for people as well is, like, you know, you're giving them a place psychologically as well as like physically.
Absolutely.
You know, because losing weight, it's not that complicated really, is it? I remember talking to a guy who, you know, is specialises in all that stuff once. I wasn't talking to him actually. I could overhear a conversation he's having with somebody else, and this person was saying to him, I just need your advice because, like, you know, I eat all the right foods, I make sure I do this, I make sure I do that, but, like, you know, I'm not losing any weight. And he went, you eating too many calories? And he went, no, I've done this, I've done this, I've done that, I'm all good. And he was like, no, you're eating too many calories. It's like pretty straightforward, because if you weren't, you'd be losing weight. So it's not even that complicated. But what's complicated is that it's not as simple as that when you put it in the context of the rest of the world, is it? Like, you know, we've all got like psychological reasons why we're not eating too many calories. With, like you say, like, I don't want to go to the gym, I don't feel comfortable there, or, you know, I don't want to stop eating these things because I quite like them, or I want to. I'm never going to be able to run a marathon, so why will I even bother start running? So, you know, pulling all that together into one place must be must be quite rewarding for you, I guess, when people actually hit their goals and feel like they pretty much changed their life.
It's great.
Is there something that you have done in your business that was a big mistake? Whereby you sort of think to yourself, like...
Oh, actually, yeah.
Okay.
So, my fault. I took the advice and I done it. You know, when you get the advice, go all in. So, I think some businesses you can, and if you're at the right stage, you definitely can go all in. But definitely with the business that I created, especially with the fitness industry, by going all in, put me in probably the worst position I could have. So, I've done other jobs to help supplement the finances along the way, and I quit them to go all in. I think it's all going to work, and it hasn't, and it's put me on my backside, and to the point where I've had to shut the businesses, go back into employment, just to get a bit of money in and try again. Yeah. So I'll take, like, some people can definitely go all in, depending on the business model and the business and how much knowledge you've got towards it. But I think sometimes you can listen too much to people giving you advice that probably not the truth.
Yeah. And do you think that if you was to analyse that, would it be because the expectations of how much you were going to earn in the business were unrealistic, or would it be because you didn't have enough money to survive for that long, or what ultimately caused the issue? Was it lack of, like I say, lack of sales, lack of funding? Like, you know, what?
I think
because you needed money. Clearly, you needed money just to live.
Yeah.
So you cut off that supply to do this other thing, but you must have thought that thing was going to replace the income.
Yeah. So I thought I was going to be a millionaire by next month.
Yeah.
As you do. I think something pinpointed then. It was the business model. So the business model was what restrained it. So this was a gym that I had in 2017, and it was high ticket. I was charging people £600 a month for 3 months.
Yeah.
And there was 8 people per session. So the first month I'd done it, chucked up some Facebook ads, got the leads in. I turned over £7,070. So I thought, this is amazing. This is going to work. But I didn't realise I was pre-selling before I started. So when I was going into it, I was doing the training, I was doing the development. So trying to sell, I wasn't able to sell as much as I was.
Yeah.
So I couldn't sell as much. So that was the first hurdle. I didn't have enough time to do what I did on the first month. The second one was by the end of the 3 months, I never really had a plan of what to do with them. Like, what was the best thing? Do I do another £600 a month, or do I put them on a lower price and stuff like that? And so, because of that, that's why it trickled down. Because obviously, there's a lot of people who can afford it, but where I live, that's not a sustainable model for foreseeable.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because like I reckon, like as entrepreneurs, a lot of us are probably tempted to do that, and even though we might look at that and go, you haven't planned any further than that, be sort of tempted to go, no, but this is going to be all right.
Yeah, exactly what it was. It was all right.
You haven't looked any further than freelance. No, but it'd be fine because I'll have made $7,000.
Yeah, I'll make 10 grand next month because I know what I'm doing. Not happening.
And then like you say, like the reality, because even if a mentor had come along and gone, yeah, but when you've got those £8,000 worth of people and you're training them, you won't have time to do the sales. There would have still been part of you, I guess, that would have gone, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Eat and sleep last.
Optimistic, arrogant, think I know best.
No, so really what we're saying then is like, it's not necessarily about going all in. It's more like, how solid is your plan? How realistic is this plan? Like, because there wasn't a realistic plan there really by the sounds of it. No. Like, you went all in and all credit to you for the sort of courage side of it.
Yeah.
And you pulled it off in the first month.
Whoa.
But the plan was the plan was not right, was it? The plan,
it was a 3-month plan.
It was a 3-month plan.
Like, survives on a 3-month
so
plan.
basically it did work, but it was only a 3-month plan.
After 3 months.
There was no 4-month plan.
Yeah.
4 months back to work.
I think is the armies improvise, adapt, and overcome. In that situation, there was no improvising, adapt, and overcoming. It was just shutting.
Shut that down. Go back to work.
But if I went back now, I'd know exactly how I'd do it differently, and that model would work really well, really simple.
And what would you have had to have done differently then?
On the 3rd month, you pay £40 a month. Done.
Right.
There was a small group session, so only 8 people at a time. By the end of the 3rd month, they could drop down to £40 a month, but the groups would be bigger. So, and it would be repeatable customers.
Yeah.
I was attracting customers. I was getting customers. I was turning them into raving customers, and I was letting them walk out my door.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. I think that's a big part of my learnings over the years have been exactly that. Like you in the early days, you focus on the initial sale.
Yeah.
But the money is in like what they buy after that.
Yeah.
The initial sale is actually
the marketing spend.
Yeah, it's the marketing spend. It keeps the doors open. It's like allows you to live.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't make you rich, but it allows the business to function. And then what? Because whatever happens after that is where the actual profit is, right?
Yeah. And why get rid of them when they're already a customer?
Yeah. They need something now.
Yeah.
There's something they need. Even with your customers, like, when they reach their goals, there's still something they need. There's someone they're about to go and spend some money with.
Well, luckily, health and fitness is a forever thing.
Yeah.
So some people should do forever. So luckily for me, if I get someone and they go from an unhealthy weight to a healthy weight, we've done it, they're probably going to stay with us.
Yeah.
So we've got things into place which makes them stay.
I love it. So where does the business go next then? You say like, you've got the kind of blueprint now. Obviously, like, next you're going to probably level up the gym, I imagine, and but then what?
So I believe the model's proven. It just proofs in the pudding. People keep turning up month after month, and we've had them for a long time, and they've changed. So I've got 2 options. Option 1, stay where I am and build it to where it's really profitable, or give it to someone, let them build it, and then create the others. I like the second option better, because I feel like it's just more of a sausage factory now. Like, everything's in place, the program's in place, even down to like the timings of the classes and the structure. And we get in people from. We get people from London, we get people from up country asking us to create the Weights Over Academy where they are. So we get a market pool. So I'm like, what do I do? Do I just sit and develop it and then duplicate, or just crack on and duplicate now?
So in a franchise kind of model?
Yeah, franchise.
And then have you thought about how you would sort of stop those franchises from basically just becoming something completely different?
Yeah, ours is real structured. you can't go wrong. Like, if someone signs up, it's like day 1 do this, day 2 do this, day 3 do this. With 3 elements: mindset, exercise, nutrition. Like, someone from a personal training background or health background, they can follow it and they can teach it easily. So another reason why it should franchise, there's a lot of fantastic health coaches out there, like really great health coaches. But you find a lot of health coaches, fitness professionals, stuff like that, they do not continue a fitness career because it's too hard to figure out to make it worthwhile living. And you'll find a lot of health professionals go do other jobs completely different to health, but they should remain in the fitness profession because that's what they're good at, and there's so many people that need it. So I think we're actually helping people. We can get the people who are really good at fitness. We got our business, marry it together. They get to do what they want, and we can help them with the business side.
When you took the big warehouse,
Yeah,
I'm just thinking back to when you was talking to me about that. Like, that is another example of being all in, though, isn't it? Like, because that must have been a pretty scary step.
so I'm contradicting myself. I think the best way to say it is when to go all in.
Right.
So before, like the first gym I had, I went all in. So from day 1, I quit my job and I started selling. This time, when I had the room and I was doing 1 session a week, I was still doing my other job. So I had a day job whilst I was doing that on the side, and it's grown up to the point where this is working.
Yeah.
People are talking about it. So we either create another room, a third room, and go to like 48 people, or get this unit and just try and flood it.
Yeah.
So
I love it. Is there? You say you run Facebook ads. Is that your only form of lead generation?
no. So, well, not so much lead generation. So attracting clients. I think a lot of people will discount the old school marketing tactics, and I think they're the best. Flyers, posters, stuff like that. One of the best marketing tactics I've done, particularly for a gym, is I've just gone around to all the businesses in my town and we create competitions. So ironically, a butcher will do a competition, like, share, comment, and they'll give a prize, we'll give a prize. Ironically, one of our favourite business partners, shall we say, is a cake shop. She runs a shop called Binge Box, which goes against the grain because cake and us. She keeps us in business, I keep her in business.
Yeah.
But we've done a lot of stuff together. So we tried creating a healthy chocolate bar, and it was going all right, but we could tell it wasn't going so well. But we knew just from the awareness of us trying to do that, because obviously we was posting about it, it was creating attraction. We was getting her audience, she was getting my audience, and that is probably the quickest. Another thing, my target
partnerships with people that have got your type of customers, basically.
correct. The next is so our target audience are parents with kids under the age of 8. That's our one we go to.
Why?
So we've actually got 2 audiences. So kids with under 8 tend to be parents that have kids, they stop, and their kids get to an age where, like, right, I want to sort myself out again. And the next stage is people like above 50 years old or 55, and their kids kind of flown the nest. They've gone to university and they got their life back. So those are the 2 demographics that really are our members. So we create kids classes, and by creating kids classes, I can create flyers saying kids classes, which I can go to the schools and give all these flyers to the schools to give all to the kids, to give to the parents. And when they go on to the kids classes, oh, my website's there. Oh, that might be for me. I'm also creating kids books at the moment, because they'll go into the kids school with our logo and 7, 11, 4, 7 locations, so people don't understand it. So when they read it, they're like subliminally tapping into it. So
I love it. Okay, and so really what you're saying there is, like, in order to find your customers, we need to find out, okay, the obvious one, where they hang out.
Yeah.
But not just where they hang out, like what service products might they be using that you could somehow link in with, and not in an obvious way, because the obvious way would be like, oh, so basically I want parents of kids under 8, I'll go and deliver a leaflet about my gym to parents in that school. 1, you might not be allowed to do that, and 2, I've heard it all before. Whereas, like, what you're doing is a little bit smarter. It's actually provide something for the children under 8 that the parents are then going to accidentally, on purpose, discover.
and extra revenue for us through the kids' classes.
Brilliant. And would you say that that stuff works, like that stuff's really been a driver for your growth?
Massively.
Yeah.
And touching on the demographic, I think people think they need to know their demographic straight away. You don't. You learn it over time. So you want to do something. I want to help people in weight loss. Obviously, I can help anyone in weight loss, but you get to realise who becomes
good customers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a great point, because in the beginning, everyone's a customer, right? We just need some cash flow.
Yeah.
Anybody who wants to come and do some weight loss, you can come, no problem.
Yeah.
And then, as you say, you'll find it seems like all the ones that really like this are like that.
Yeah.
But never something that you probably would have been able to plan out before you started the company, right?
Maybe small people, the majority of people know. It's market pull, I think.
And the plans that you have, the workout regimes, everything start to tweak around those people as well, don't they? So everything kind of morphs into a company for those people, whereas in the beginning it was probably a bit more generic.
Constant redevelopment.
Yeah.
Like you build a program and it works, and you got to build it again and build it again. Not completely do it over again, but just cater it more towards who you're helping.
Love it. One last question then.
Yeah.
If someone is sitting listening to this and they're thinking to themselves, I've got a business, and I had similar sort of journey with Chris. I tried it, it didn't really work. I sort of now I'm back part-time doing a bit of my job, or even I've gone back full-time, and I've still got this thing alive in my heart somewhere that I want to do this thing. How do they? What should they do to kind of give themselves the confidence to be able to eventually step away from doing these jobs that they don't really want to do and move to the thing that they are going to?
I think we're very lucky, because whatever you want to do, there's probably 1,000 people who's done it before you. So if you have an idea in your mind and no one in the world has done it, there's probably a big risk that it might not work. If you got an idea in your mind and there's 1,000 people who've done it very successfully, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So it's just then finding your way of doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like your personality towards it. Example, someone who wants to open a barbershop. It works. You know, many barbershops, but everyone's got their own personality towards what their barbershop is.
Yeah.
And people get drawn to it. So if you've got an idea in your mind, have a look how many people have done it, and just read their stories. Biographies of those people will help you understand how they've done it and created it, and just follow it.
I love it.
Success leaves clues.
Yeah.
Big believer in that. You just copy what they do.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for coming in.
Pleasure.